So I've done a couple of small box now, and technically this is also a small box. It's a 2 cubic feet box, which is one of the smallest boxes I've used. I have a couple of 4 cubic feet there, and I have a bunch of 5 cubic feet boxes. And I'm wondering, what have I done? So let's get started with this one. We're just gonna move the box. Well, we'll open it here and then I'll move it over so it's out of the way. Oh, this is a house that I'm hoping will never have to move again. So that's good. All right, I'll move this box over here for now. Oh my gosh, why is this so heavy? Okay, so I have my dice tower. So at Malcon, the first one I did, friends of mine made this and gifted it to me. So it's 3D printed dice tower, and it's the most amazing, beautiful thing I've ever seen. So that was in there. Then I have Tiny Ninjas Heroes, and this is one that I bought at Gobfest. It's super cool because it it has that magnetic open here, and you open it and this is the board. Like, this becomes the board and it looks amazing, so I'm super excited for that. I also have, what is this? Oh, One Night Ultimate Werewolf Daybreak, but I believe this is an expansion for One Night Ultimate Werewolf, which I don't have, but I have this one. So there's that. I also have Adventure Time Card Wars. This is a 2-player game that is a card battle game. I think it plays somewhat like Magic the Gathering a little bit. And I mean, okay, I've watched this cartoon and I think it's horrible and I don't want to watch it. But this game was really good. Plus, they've made like a cartoon episode tutorial on how to play it, which is really entertaining to watch. So this one is actually really good. Then I have Blueprints, a game by Yves Tourigny. And this one was cool. So it's you have these dice and you're drafting the dice and you're placing them on this little blueprint area of what you're supposed to build. And depending on what the dice is and what is next to it and what's touching what, how much it scores. I also have Boss Monster. This one is kind of, you're playing as the bad guy and you're creating your dungeon and you're bringing these heroes in and you're trying to kind of get them defeated by the time they reach the end of the dungeon, and you gain points by doing that. And it was neat. Like, it's an 8-bit video game theme, and I got that because of my kids. Figured that would appeal to them. And I have a second one of these in shrink. Apparently my friend had got access to a few of them and he had given them to me, so I've given a few away, but I still have this one. And then when I was at Gobfest, I was given a couple of decks of Keyforge. So I have these here. I also have Scopa, which is backwards from the back here. So it's a traditional card game. So I love card games. I'm sure I would really enjoy this one. I just haven't had the chance to get this one played yet. So hopefully I'll be doing that soon. Then I have Cat Lady. Cat Lady is one that my stepdaughter really enjoys, and it's neat. So you have this 3x3 grid, and on your turn you select a row or a column and you take all 3 cards that are in that row or column, but whatever one you place, then you put the cat there and you replace what you've taken, but that one is now, it's blocked off, so you can't take new cards that have just been, well, at least not that same row or column that you activated. And it's a set collection game, so you're trying to collect resources, which are food to feed the cats, and then you're collecting cats, and depending on the cat, what they need to be fed, and then at the end of the game you need to feed the cats in order to score points for them. But then you're also collecting the little cat costumes and cat toys, and then the more you have, the more it's worth. It's a really neat, cute game. And then I have, oh boy, this is, I Why is this so heavy? What do you mean? And then for a while I had a few of them, like the TikTok edition, the family edition. And I've got rid of a few of them and kept just the what do you mean? And this is one that my kids really enjoy playing. But warning, some cards are not family friendly, so if that's a concern, make sure that you pull those out. But it's one that just, it's kind of an easy one to get to the table, an easy one to talk to kids into playing. So it's one we play from time to time. So what do you mean? I also have bottom of the ninth. My stepson plays baseball, so I bought him this game for Christmas. And it looks like it's a dice game. Oh, there's a couple of dice. I haven't got to play it yet. I've heard great things about it, so I'm excited to try it. And then we have, oh, this is falling apart. Boss Monster 2. A friend of mine was selling this, and because I had Boss Monster, I was like, well, sure, let's get Boss Monster 2 as well. Oh wow, it's a mess in here. So it's kind of like, it's neat. Like you get all these, that looks like the old type, like of, you know, Nintendo games, the old Mario games or whatever. So, which I figured is a theme that would appeal to my boys. So that's why I have Boss Monster. I don't think they've actually played it yet. But me and Lee played it and it was neat. It's an interesting one. So Boss Monster, the next level, Boss Monster 2. And then I have Space Team. And you know what? I've seen friends of mine play this at Gobfest. And my friend gave this one to me. And it's one of those kind of party game where you're playing and different silly things are happening. And we were like, and it got loud at Gobfest when they're playing it. And then all of a sudden they're like, what are they playing? I was like, maybe they're playing the pit, and where like you're simulating like the stock market. Everybody's yelling and trying to trade things. But in this one, you're trying to go through, and it's a co-op game, but then you'll have different cards that'll do different things. And then I'd seen the one where he's like moving and kind of like getting pulled away from the table, and somebody had to go and grab him to bring him back in. Like there's different cards like this that'll do crazy silly things like that. So I haven't played it yet, but yeah, I've seen it played, and it's one that looks interesting in the right setting, right? So Space Team. Then we have a lot of games in here. So I have Epic Tactics, the map expansion. So it adds those Wasteland and the Winter Highland. So, and it just adds like a different map basically that you can play on. Then I have the Tiny Epic Tactic as well, which is interesting with this one because the box is actually the game, like, and it's 3D. So you're going up and down levels and you're kind of putting this whole map together, and you have 4 characters that you're trying to get through. I have Tiny Epic Kingdom Heroes Call. So this is an expansion for the Tiny Epic Kingdom. Tiny Epic Kingdom was actually the first Tiny Epic game that I got, and I just fell in love with it. These are the few Tiny Epic games that I hadn't brought to Melcon, so the other ones would be in a Melcon box. Fox in the Forest, which is a 2-player trick-taking game. And it's interesting because you're not trying to win. You're trying to win a certain amount of tricks to win. But if you win them all, you get a very low score. If you win almost none, you get a really low score. So you're trying to get like a balance that gives you a higher point. Then here, Air, Land, and Sea, which is a really interesting tug-of-war battle game. So you have cards and you got the 3 battle front, and Air, Land, and Sea, and you're trying to win the majority of them. This one was a lot of fun too. And then I have Flinch. I don't think I've played Flinch yet, but I really like little card games, so I'm sure I will enjoy that one when I get to play it. Then I have Cat Stacks, and basically this is like a 3D puzzle solo game. So you kind of pull up the things. It has like the cats that you're gotta pull out, and it tells you how many levels it is. So because you can play just like one flat level, but then there's like where you can play multiple levels. So some cats could be standing, some are laying down. It kind of brings a whole new level of complications to it. And you gotta place the cats in this puzzle thing. So that one was actually really cool. I also have, this is, what is it called? Traffic Jam, where you have all these little plastic cards that are in this little grid, and you got to try to move, like, and they can only move forward and backwards, and you're trying to move them to try to release the red car out. Another solo puzzle game that's so fun. Then I have Bonanza the Duel. So Bonanza is a really cool negotiation game, because you get your deck of cards, you can't sort them, you have to plant the bean that is in the front of the card, and if it's not a bean you've been collecting and you want, then you got to negotiate it out of your hand. And Bonanza the Duel is a 2-player version of this game, and they do a really good job at maintaining the negotiation with only 2 players. I was really impressed. First time I played this was at FallCon in 2018. And I was super impressed with it. So when I came across it, decided to get my own copy. Because sometimes it's easier to find one person to play with than trying to get a group of people to play. I've got Deluxe Root. I've played this once. I don't think it was my own version. But it was super cool because this is a trick-taking game, or you get rid of all your cards. So one of the two. And you're playing teams. But at the start of the round, you say, okay, well, whoever has this card is on my team. And you don't know who that is. And the other players, unless they have that card, doesn't know who that is. And until the card is revealed, or a player is obviously playing to help you. And you're playing these, so it's really interesting because of that. So that's Rook. And then I have The Flow of History. A friend of mine was selling some games. I decided to buy this. Well, I went over and I was like, I only have cash. Do you have change? And he's like, no, sorry. I was like, all right, well, do you have other games? So I ended up buying like twice the amount that I purchased for. And just grab some more games. And this is a friend of mine had talked about it, saying how great it was. So it looks like it's like a Civilization card game, possibly. I haven't played this one yet, so I'm excited to try. And then I bought this one at Walmart when the pandemic started, just for fun, and it's called Virus, and this is so neat. And you're trying to get 5 healthy organs to win the game, but you can infect other people's organs, and you can do all these things, so then you're gonna heal yourself, and it's just a quick, simple, easy card game, but it's one that we've enjoyed and played quite a bit. And then in here we also have this one, so it's called Choson, and this one is super cool because it's kind of oops, this box took a bit of a beating here. If you notice, like, that's gonna happen, and yeah, I'm a little bit worried about how the boxes fared in this travel, but can't be helped. So with this one is you kind of have different cards that you can play, and then if you have the majority of one type, it activates an ability for you. And then until the other person, if like they end up playing and then they gain majority, and then you lose that ability and then they have it, and you're trying to, it was really interesting. I enjoyed this. It's one that I want to play again. I think I've only played it once, maybe twice. I enjoyed it more than my partner, but it was cool. So it shows on. And then I have Welcome Back to the Jungle, to the dungeon. Welcome Back to the Dungeon. And this is a push your luck game. So basically is you're adding cards, or you're taking cards away from, like, well, you're adding them to the pile, but it's a discard pile. So then you're going to the dungeon, and you're not going to have these cards now. And you don't know what you're going to come across, because it could be monsters that require certain weapons to be defeated. And you're kind of like, hey, well, I'll discard this one. But at any time, you could be like, okay, I'm done. But then the cards you haven't discarded are going to go in the dungeon as well. So you're trying to discard to make whoever goes to the dungeon like a little bit more tricky to make it through. But then if it's you that ends up going to the dungeon, because everybody can back out, and then like, oh shoot, now it's me, I gotta go through the dungeon, and then you don't know if you have enough weapons to make it through, and it's an interesting one. So it's kind of like a push your luck card game. Then we also have Clue the card game. I like this one a lot. I enjoyed Clue. I didn't enjoy the board and kind of, oh, I got to reach the library to ask about the library. And this kind of mitigates that. So you'll have the card in front of you and you can ask, okay, about this. And then so on your turn, you can ask about the cards you have in front of you. And then, or you can swap cards, and then there'll be cards that kind of share cards with the people around you or across from you. And like, it's just the deduction portion of the game. And to me, it takes that Clue game and it makes it just fun and good. So Clue, the card game. And then I have One Deck Dungeon, which is a game that I love. I played this one so much, and it's solo or 2 players. If you have multiple copies, then you can kind of play more. All the characters are female, and you have so many dice and you roll, and there's a lot of multi-use cards in this one as well. We've talked about this one quite often in the podcast, the Board Game Specialist podcast. And this is one that me and my cousin played a lot, like from noon to midnight, almost every day on my trip to New Brunswick. So, great game. Then I have the Dwarf King, a Bruno Fiducci game. And this is one of those that has that, oops, like that metal closure or magnetic closure. And I just like that about a game. But in this one, it's a trick-taking game. But each round, you're going to have a card that one player is going to select what is required to win the trick. Or if you win, it's good. If you lose, it's good. Or like, it depends on the requirements changes every round. So it's interesting. It kind of makes it very interesting. The Dwarf King. All right, what else we have in here? I have 5211, which is a game that I had kind of heard about that looked interesting. I've never played this one yet. I bought it just a few months ago at Wizard's Loft in Red Deer, which is an amazing store. So if you're in that area, definitely be sure to stop by. So still need to play this one, a little card game. It looks really interesting. I was reading about it, and so I've kind of read the rules, and you play 2 cards, then 1, then I don't know. You start with 5 cards, you play 2, then you play 1, then you play 1, and then I don't know. I'm interested to give this one a try, so we'll see how it plays. Then I have Express the Railroad card game, and this is one actually I haven't played yet. There's another. The one Melcon, I had purchased a few train games because I had come across a lady on Facebook that would do theme games, and then she would do like pirate nights, and then everybody would come over and they'd play pirate themed games, and they'd have pirate themed snacks, and the house was decorated pirates, and I was like, I want to be able to do that, but I didn't have that many so I was like, okay, well, what kind of theme can I get? So I was like, train, so I got a bunch of train games, and then bunch of horror games and a whole bunch of stuff like that. So that was part of it. So this is a card game version of a train game that I haven't tried yet, but looks interesting. Beyond Baker Street is like Hanabi, the one where you're building the fireworks. So it plays like that, where all the cards are facing out. You don't see what you got, but you're trying to collect the proper clues. So it'll be like, okay, so you need 9 of this type of clues, and then you'll be adding cards to it. But like, you know, you'll be giving clues to the other players, like, well, this and this one are the blue cards, and then this and this one are number 4. And it's like, okay, well, we need 9. There's a 5, so if this is a blue card and it's number 4, that would bring us to 9. Then we would have solved that clue. It is hard. It is hard. I have no memory to speak of, but it was neat. And it kind of takes that Hanabi game and makes it more into like an actual game. So it's neat. Beyond Baker Street. And I got it because I just like the Sherlock Holmes theme. Oh, which could be another theme night, Sherlock Holmes. I got this one, Bad Medicine, a little while back. And there's an expansion. I think I just put the expansion in here as well. And this is such a fun game. I work in a pharmacy, and each cards in here are little prescription pads, and there's different portions to it. So the top one is going to go towards putting a name for this new medicine, and then you have like a side effect that it has, and then how, like, so you're kind of, then you're kind of, I was like, okay, well, you're trying to solve itchy nose, and then you'll kind of have the cards and you put them together and you create this story about how this medicine works, and you're trying to sell it, and it's hilarious. This is a party game for sure. And I just loved it because of the theme with the pharmacy. And yeah, so big medicine, or bad medicine. All right, and then I have Bongo Extreme. And this is an interesting one. So you have a shape that you got, like how many pieces you need, and you try to fit them in. And it's a race game with everybody. And this is, oh my God. So Bongo has kind of like more polyomino Tetris type shape. These ones, they're all like these odd shapes. And for some reason, I tell you, it is harder to visualize how these all come together. And the first one to put it together then starts a timer. And then if you're able to finish it in that round, then you keep your card and you gain the 1 point. But whoever didn't finish it, those cards goes to the person who finished first and collects those other people's cards as points as well. It's neat. It's called Fun Size Edition, so it's like a smaller travel size. But it's a hard one. It's a hard one. But it's a neat, fun, puzzly game, right? Then I have Magic the Gathering New Phyrexia. So this is another one that I think my brother had gifted for my kids for when they wanted to play Magic. So we have that in there. And then I have Trials by Trolley. My kid wanted to have this game oh so badly. And it's not often that they ask me to get games, so I kind of give in fairly easy. But this is like a moral dilemma party game. So you have the trolley, and then it can go this way or this way. And each team is going to put a card of people on the track. And then you're going to play another card of another person on the other person's track. So it could be like, well, there's this little baby on the track, you know, that's just brand new baby, hasn't even lived its life, but then your parents on the track as well. But then you have on this side where it's a bunch of nuns, and then the kid that's about to discover the cure for cancer, and they're going to kind of say, well, this is why you should come here, and this is why you should come, like, go on the other side, don't kill these people because this is your mom and dad, or like, or whatever the debate gets to be. But then you add another card of like a bad person, basically, and it's like, this is the guy that invented autocorrect. You don't want to put up with that. You got to take him out. And then you're like, so different things like that. I mean, it's messed up, but it's funny. So Trial by Trolley. And then I have Electronic Battleship in here. I wasn't going to keep this one. And I just never got rid of it. But I mean, like, Battleship is fun. And Electronic Battleship will make it just that much more fun, won't it? Well, we'll see. So, and if I have a little bit more space now, then I might not I'm not forced to get rid of games so much right now. So, Electronic Battleship. And then the last thing in here is just one of those 3D brain burner puzzles. We get these for the kids every Christmas. We never solve them on our own. We always have to look up the answers. But this one is a tricky one as well. So that's it for box number 3. So be sure to stay tuned for box number 4 as I'm unboxing my entire board game collection. Bye, everybody.